Ein Putsch hebt man auf was one of my grandmother's favorite sayings. It's a German saying that means if someone slaps you, don't react right away. Instead, take that slap or blow, put it in your pocket, and save it for the right moment. My grandmother would say, when the right moment comes, you take out the offending blow and return it to its rightful owner, miming the action of placing something in her pocket. Ein Putsch hebt man auf. Strange advice coming from a woman who fled the Nazis, leaving an unstable husband behind to settle in a New York City apartment around the corner from her daughter, my mother. There were lots of sayings in my house, but this one was the most confusing. Had my grandmother held on to all the slaps history had given her, I wonder? If so, she'd never be able to empty her pockets. Growing up, I feel the heaviness of these accumulated slaps permeate our home. Maybe that's why I'm never stoic or disciplined enough to hold things in. First, I react, and then after the fact, analyze and evaluate. In high school, I earned the nickname Instant Replay Bonne, a tribute to my uncanny ability to repeat verbatim every conversation, every interchange. It's not that I want to get even, I want to understand. Fights with my parents, breakups with boyfriends, arguments with girlfriends. I believe that if I analyzed them enough, maybe I would finally feel okay. Most of all, I want to feel like I'm accepted. I want the tuna fish sandwiches with the crusts cut off and potato chips on the side, not liverwurst on pumpernickel in wax paper. Across the street from our apartment, actually right in the middle of the street, is Strauss Park, an oasis of a park wedged snugly between West End Avenue and Broadway, where my grandmother and women of her generation sit, speaking of their beloved grandchildren, the joyful reminder of their survival. The park is named for Mr. and Mrs. Strauss, a couple who chose to go down together on the Titanic rather than survive without each other. At the southern end of the park on 106th Street, a statue of a mermaid inclines over a plaque with a dedication to the Strausses. As a child, whenever I visit the park with my grandmother, I feel an atmosphere of sorrow that seems to inhabit every corner, from the mermaid to the scrawny trees, the benches with their peeling paint, and the women who occupy those benches, some with numbers still tattooed on their arms, who never attempt to learn the language of their new country, preferring instead to speak in their native tongue, filled with guttural Teutonic tones and formal pronouns. The Strauss Park of my childhood was a sad, still place, resonant with secrets and narratives of loss. Once a week, the sorrow lifts when Nana and I, sometimes accompanied by her friends, walk the 4 blocks to Stanley's cafeteria, a noisy, crowded restaurant with enormous egg salad sandwiches, mayonnaise spilling over the edges of a hard-crusted roll that I order every time. We point out our selections to the grumpy man behind the counter who's always in a hurry. He punches our tickets to indicate our orders, and when we leave, another grumpy man collects our tickets and calculates what we owe. Block by block, my excitement mounts as we head toward Stanley's, hustle and bustle. It smells of fried onions and strong coffee, the intriguing rituals surrounding our meal. Behind us, Strauss Park, filled with death, despair, and reminders of tragic histories. Ahead of us, Stanleys, with its noise, nurture, and life, the essence of New York City. Nana is killed in a car accident when I'm 17. Her glaucoma prevents her from seeing the truck rounding the corner as she crosses the street on her way to the park. A priest happens to pass by and waits for the ambulance to arrive. She doesn't let him call my mother because she doesn't want to worry her. So my grandmother dies in the hospital and none of us get to say goodbye. Over the years, the neighborhood changes. My grandmother's generation of Holocaust survivors is replaced by a younger, largely Hispanic population. I don't return to Stanleys for many years after my grandmother's death, perhaps because of these memories. When I finally do go back my senior year at Columbia, I discover the menu now features arroz con pollo. I'm there to meet my friend Jane, who is, in my estimation, the quintessential Barnard girl. Smart, outspoken, sexy. She has slept with leaders of SDS and talks about having orgasms. A revolutionary now turned feminist, Jane's a little intimidating. I can't quite believe that someone this cool could be my friend. Eager and anxious, I arrive before Jane and am seated at a table when she walks in. She is a revolutionary vision in her tight jeans, gold hoop earrings, and long dark hair. As she passes one of the occupied tables, two young Puerto Rican men vocalize their appreciation. "You look good, mommy," they say, making sucking sounds with their lips. I think at some level I know what's coming next. Jane whirls around and slaps one of the guys across the face, hard. I hear it, and so does everyone else in the suddenly silent cafeteria. "Let's go now," Jane commands, and I hastily obey. But as we trot at a brisk pace up Broadway, it occurs to me that I want to see the man who undoubtedly is going to stab me. "Two co-eds die on violence-plagued city streets," the headlines will scream. My poor mother. It seems grossly unfair, after all. I had not hit anyone, but this will clearly be a case of guilt by association. So I stop and turn around. Best case scenario, I can explain that I am innocent. Worst case, I'll meet death head on, not in the back. Jane is now forced to halt as well. The taller of the two men, who have indeed followed us out of the cafeteria, comes up close and, leaning over Jane, yells, "I didn't do anything. It was the guy at the other table. You hit the wrong man." Jane, true to form, does not flinch. "Well, I'm sorry," she replies, "but I hope you learned something about women's liberation today. We are not going to be sex objects anymore." And with that, it's over. The two men walk away, shaking their heads, and I take my first breath since rushing onto the sidewalk. Far from sharing my relief, Jane is mad at me. "That was not sisterhood," she states. "You were not being supportive when you stopped. You were trying to distance yourself from me." Damn straight I was. But I apologize anyway. Her friendship is too important to jeopardize. Walking home, however, I feel far from contrite. I am, in fact, jubilant. Ein Putsch hebt man auf. I'm thinking how Jane hadn't kept a thing in her pocket. She'd taken all the insult she'd felt in that moment and given it right back, even if it had been to the wrong recipient. My grandmother's words, holding layers of implicit betrayal and dark strategies for surviving a treacherous world, exploded the moment Jane's palm hit the man's cheek. Ein Putsch did not have to be hipped auf. There is no need to hold on or in, no need to stay angry and plan retribution. You can just let it all out, see what happens, and move on. You can just react and still be okay. Stanley's is only a few blocks from Strauss Park, but on this day, it becomes a new world that finally belongs to me.